Good morning. Good morning. Now, those of you that are on the Sunrise crew, we've already said hello, right, Kathy R? Okay. Those of you that are on the spreadsheet squad, well, we're always hooked together from one very large, very boring database. Okay. Now, then, for those of you that are just living your best life, you slept in late on a Saturday morning. You're having a little bit of coffee and trying to wipe the sleep from your eyes and make a decision about how to move forward into your day. Well, good morning to you. Now, then, you see this black spot in the middle of my screen. It is a nuisance, right? But not as big of a nuisance as some YouTubers that we know. Look, okay, now I'm going to quit being entertaining, okay? Or I'm going to quit trying to be entertaining. I may just be annoying, okay? Look, I'm troubled, and I don't mind saying it. And I did do some soul searching last night, today, this morning. I did do some soul searchings about whether I wanted to do this because people are going to get mad. But I think something has to be said. I do. Now, what I am addressing, I'm addressing the circus that is now happening in front of Billy Joe Howell's home. These people have completely erased little Quentin. Okay, now look, please get me here. Okay, I think that all three of these kids, the whole group, all of them, have been failed. Billy Joe Howell made some terrible decisions, and trust me, she's paying for it. She knows she made some terrible decisions. We still don't have the story, or at least I don't know it yet. I don't know if I missed it, because I'm going to tell you straight up, I can't watch this crap that they're doing now in front of this house. I can't watch it. It just, we're back to communal narcissism. Oh, I'm going to give all of my $7 million to charity because that's the kind of gal I am. And everybody goes, oh, Amber Heard, is she so sweet? That old bad Johnny Depp, he is not nearly as sweet as Amber Heard. Amber is so sweet. She will give all her money to charity to those poor little sick kids. Oh, no. Sorry, people. Normal, regular people that have love in your heart. No. Amber didn't give a dime. She just manipulated you. She doesn't have empathy, but she knows that you have empathy. And therefore, she lies to you. She manipulates you. She misleads you into believing that she will make a sacrifice for the greater good. And it is horse shit. Now, the reason I say shit, and I don't spell it out, and I don't say shite, is because I am an old lady. And it's okay if I choose to use a curse word in a well thought out, properly placed sentence. This deal that's happening in front of Billy Joe Howell's house, it is no different. Trust me on this. It is no different than Amber Heard proclaiming to the world that she's giving her $7 million judgment from Johnny Depp to the Children's Hospital. It's no different. You're going, what? Huh? What do you mean, Jules? Like, I don't understand what you're talking about. How? What? Like, what are you talking about? It is no different for this reason. The motivation of Amber Heard to go live on a television program during prime time and proclaim to the world that she is so selfless that she's willing to give $7 million to a children's hospital. To get what? Love. So that she says, I'm going to give all this money to the hospital, and the people that hear about this are going to worship her. Oh my God. You're such a philanthropist, Amber. Oh my God. You're a better person than me, Amber. But really, in fact, she didn't do... No, she's a worse person than you. She never intended to give the $7 million. She kept every dime. It was just, it was a moment in time to manipulate you so that you would become a fan of Amber Heard. Now, what's going on in front of Billy Joe Howell's house? Oh, but Jules, you're so wrong, Jules. They're out there fighting for little baby Q. Don't you know that? Little baby Q. No, his name is Quentin, and he was a real live human being. He wasn't a letter in the alphabet, especially the Q letter. Quentin, whether he was killed in a moment of rage, whether it was a terrible accident, whether he wandered out of the house and a criminal pervert snatched him, whether Danny did something horrible, we don't know, y'all. You don't know. And what makes it even more likely that you don't know is that the police have not made a move, have they? I want you to think about what happened yesterday. Think about what happened yesterday with Richard Matthew Allen, murderer extraordinaire. We all had our favorite perpetrator, didn't we? We all had an idea of who it was going to end up being, one way or the other. Some of you, even yesterday, you were bound and determined that it was Ron Logan. There were even people saying, well, tell me, did Richard Allen know Ron Logan? No. Unless maybe it's a small town and they both lived in the small town. And so you'd see each other uptown and say, hey, and then Ron would say, hey, and then you'd go on about your business. But that doesn't mean that you're buddies. I had my perpetrator. We all had our own perpetrator. And I don't know of a single solitary soul that said, oh, yeah, I think it's probably Richard Matthew Allen. No one. Not one person. But they did it. They made it happen. It took them 5 years, but they did it. And now they got a prosecutor who says, yes, we can go to court. We can make this happen. We can definitely get a prosecution, a verdict with this evidence that we got in the Wabash River. Okay. Now, juxtapose the dignity of the Williams family and the Patty family against the circus that is happening. It's absolutely incredible. Let me put up a bit of an exhibit here so that we're all on the same page. So we all know what we're talking about. You know what I mean, people? Hold on a bit. Hang on with me. I could sing a song, but you know, I just don't think I should. Here we go.
Come on,
Okay, try to remember. There is a 20-month-old baby named Quentin Simon who is missing. The police have made an announcement. They believe that he is dead. And these people, or turtles, at the direction of the well-beloved Blowhorn Betty, have turned this child's neighborhood into something out of a Mad Max movie.
Getting the weekend off from searching, that sucks, okay? Another weekend, or no, not searching this landfill. Leilani told me.
Oh, another weekend where they quit searching. Those damn searchers, they don't care about quitting. Don't you see that me and Blowhard, we care about baby Quentin, not the searchers.
Honey, you double fisting? You know, she's smoking two things, right? I said, what are you smoking? And she says, I'm smoking a cigarette and I'm smoking CBD, okay? I'm trying to battle my addictions. I've been clean since October 5th, okay? But before October 5th, not clean, right? Think about the date of that.
Now, this guy on his own channel right here, look, I'm going to tell you straight up. I saved the video where he was literally assaulting a woman in broad daylight in front of the house. Literally. The language coming out of this guy's mouth was something that would make Ryan Upchurch blush. The things that he said to this woman made me nauseated. And my response was to go right over to his channel and unsubscribe. That's right. I've actually been a subscriber of his channel for, I don't even know. I don't know. I guess from the beginning. I go over and I watch him late at night. He just does little talk show commentary, makes soap. And I couldn't believe it. I could not reconcile the person that I watch for more than a year. The person that I watch when he's at home and he's making commentary about true crime or just regular in general chat, just talking. he just seems so normal, just strong personality, opinionated, but funny, right? He's funny. But never have I heard a hint of like an abuser. Like I've never, that idea, I've never listened to him in his channel and him say something that would make me go, "Ooh, okay, ooh, that was uncomfortable." Never, not once. Not once. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was uh, being in a certain environment with certain people that were behaving in a certain way, and he's just doing what they're doing. He's trying to get their respect. He's trying to get their attention. I don't know what caused him to do this, but I'm going to tell you just how bad it was. I saved the video. And when I got, as I was going through it, and I was thinking, oh, okay, what part of this do I want to put in my video? I couldn't. There was not a part that I would be willing to put on my channel. And I'm no shrinking violet, people. There are times that I can get angry and cuss like a drunk sailor. Okay, no, this, it wasn't the cuss words. That's not what is hard to manage. It's the raw aggression, the unfiltered hate that he's directing at a woman he doesn't know. You want to know why? You want to know what she did to get that attention from him. She had the audacity to speak out and say they were wrong to be attacking the family like they were. One of the protesters with a very noticeable, very loud mouth said, as Billy Joe Howell, the grandmother, Leilani and Paul are sitting in the front yard of the house. And I'm going to get to that. I disagree with that. But they're sitting in the front yard. This all happened in broad daylight. And the very, very, very noticeable loud mouth begins to screech, saying, where is the baby now? Where's baby Q now? He's in a landfill. Roaches are crawling all over him. Oh, and in the meantime, the super chats are flowing like wine. The turtle, the Ninja Turtle guy that I just showed you, in this, around this time of the same encounter, that just went, oh my God, it was violent. It had a potential to become very violent. The cops were shook. They were rattled. The family's rattled. YouTube creators are rattled. People are on the phone trying to get other people to go out and try to help Billy Joe, who is having a nervous breakdown in the front yard of her house. And in the middle of all this, Turtle Boy, the Ninja Turtle guy who's wearing the costume, he screams. I'm talking about just screams from his gut. Like he got all caught up in the emotion of all this chaos, right? And he screams. He says, "Bitch!" He said, what was his words? He said, he said, "Bitch!" He said, I'm a trauma pimp. He said, my pockets are full of money. He said, you want to come and get me arrested? He said, come arrest me. He said, I'll be out in 2 hours because of my subscribers. There you go. Says it all right there. That's it. Think about Amber Heard. Her going on that TV station saying she's given her $7 million away to a children's charity. And she did it so that the fans would love her. She did it so that she would get a role and the fans would come watch her. And then that would turn her $7 million into $70 million. It was purely a capitalistic moment of manipulation. And that is exactly what is happening in front of Billy Joe Howell's house. Though there are some legitimate protesters out there, I don't think they're. Look, this United States of America, we have a right to voice our opinion. We have a right to picket against companies that we think are doing, unscrupulous business or unethical business practices. We have a right to do that. They have a right to be there. They have a right to have their signs. That I'm 100% all in. I'm good with that. But speech is not unlimited. You may not go into a movie theater and yell fire just for fun, because people will jump up to run and get hurt. You may not use your words to incite violence or to prompt hate against another person. It's illegal, Dolly. I don't care what that person is telling you is okay. You are a rational person. I've been watching you a long time. And what you did yesterday, that wasn't normal Dolly stuff. You cannot incite people to violence. And you damn near did it yesterday. Now, I'm gonna say this again. It's so important to think about this, okay? A few of these YouTube creators are going out there and they are talking as if they are omniscient and godly. They are speaking as if they are all knowing. It took them 5 years to get Richard Allen. Everybody had an opinion about who the perpetrator was in the murders of Abby and Libby, and every one of us was wrong. So why, Betty, why do you believe that you're all knowing, that you're the only one that knows that Leilani killed her child? Why? If she had killed her kids, she would be arrested, Betty. She would be arrested. If they haven't arrested her, and they truly believe she did it, it's because they do not have the evidence to secure a conviction. And guess what, Betty? You are making it difficult for them to get a conviction. The antics that have gone on in front of that house, the things that you guys did yesterday during the day was far worse than, at night. The things that you guys have done, you're interfering with a conviction, with the proper arrest of a perpetrator. You're not protesting. You're rioting. Here's a question. Here's a question. Why not go to the CPS building, Betty? Have you thought about that? Why don't you go to the CPS building or DHHS? Why don't you go there and protest a little bit and say, why didn't you help these kids when they were alive before they got hurt? Or why don't you go down and protest in front of the babysitter's house? They're the ones that showed you videos, which that seems to be in contention, according to the police. The police have said outright they have not seen video or photographs of bruises on Quentin. No, you just tell people they're faithfully following you. They all believe and hang on every word you say. And you almost escalated a terrible situation. Now I'm watching and I'm seeing your MO. You're one of those that you get in there and you stir it up. And when it gets rough, somehow you just magically disappear. Just magically back away. Poor old Dolly, he doesn't have your panache yet. He got caught with his pants down yesterday. And Dolly, you're probably going to end up with charges on you. What are you guys going to do when Billy Joe Howell falls over from a heart attack? What are y'all going to do then? Oh, it'll be raining money on that day, won't it? That'll be a great day in YouTube world. Don't get me wrong, y'all. Don't get me wrong. That child should have been protected. Every kid in this country, in this world, should be protected. How many times have you guys heard me say, you take addiction, you interject limited financial resources, add a few children into the home, and you have a danger zone. Quentin was living in a danger zone. The signs were everywhere. Everywhere. Oh, and lo and behold, look at there, Leilani. Your baby goes missing. You're under suspicion for potential arrest at any minute. You're named the primary suspect. You hadn't been able to get sober. You hadn't been able to get clean from your drugs. And then magically, boom, October the 5th, now you're able to be clean from drugs. Is that right? You beat addiction now, right? In the meantime, have you looked at the condition that Billy Joe Howell is in? I don't know who's out there listening, but please hear me. Whoever had the idea that going out, sitting in that front yard was a good one, please don't be the decision maker again. It was the very worst possible choice that you could have made. It was the bad choice for the family. It was a bad choice for the protesters. The only people that benefited were the YouTubers that are out there calling themselves tragedy pimps. The tragedy pimps benefited from the choice, the decision to sit in the front yard and give them free, unfettered access to scream and yell and escalate. There used to be this therapy. Well, I guess it still is, but people don't do it, I don't think. It was called primal scream therapy. Yes. From the 70s. Isn't that quite 70-ish? If Jordan Peterson was here, he would be laughing right now. Yes. Primal scream therapy. And the idea being, you have all this pin-up, stuff from your genetic endowment and from your childhood and All you had to do is just have someone hold you in their arms as you screeched and screamed. You became a sky screamer. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't work. It didn't work. You want to know what it did? You want to know the actual result when they did outcome studies related to primal scream therapy? What they found out is that people's levels of anger escalated after laying in someone's lap and screaming like a banshee. I'm so mad. Well, guess what, Hotshot? You just made yourself madder. I'm so pissed off. Yeah, well, you know what? After all that screaming and yelling, now you're drenched in urine. It doesn't work. What's going on out there in front of Billy Joe Howell's is like a petri dish for primal scream therapy. And, you know, the only people benefiting are the tragedy pimps. Yes, Dolly, you, by your own words, you described yourself. You said, bitch, I'm a tragedy pimp. My pockets are full of money. That's what she said. And I chose not to play it on my channel. Come on, Dolly. This is not the way you act. It's not. You're a funny guy. You're a nice guy. You treat people with respect. This was something weird that you got caught up in. I believe, it's my opinion, you got caught up in the crap, you know. Don't be the guy. God. Dolly, don't be a mirror. Don't do that, because that takes away all your power from you. When you're the mirror, that takes away all of your power. It takes away all your individuality. It takes away your identity, Dolly. Don't be the mirror. Be the good guy. Be the smart guy standing in front of all those mirrors. Man, you were the mirror yesterday, Dolly. You went out there. You heard all that disgusting screeching and yelling, the obscenities that were being yelled at those people. And you know what you did? You're a good guy. On any other day of the week, you're a good guy. I know, because I've been watching you a long time. I don't really ever talk in the channel, but I'm listening. And what you did is you began to mirror Bullhorn Betty. You became Bullhorn Betty. And you see, you don't have the panache and skill that Betty has developed. Betty knows how to go out there and talk smack and be offensive as hell and act like a sociopath. She has the ability to do those, but she's skillful now. She knows when things are getting out of control and when it's time for her to very quietly just sort of step back away from the fray and then go missing. Maybe she goes to the truck and has a cigarette. Maybe she goes over to a different group of people and starts up a conversation over there. But she's watching the shit show, Dolly. But you don't have that, see? Because you were the mirror. You watched her and you just started doing what she was doing. But you don't have the skill to know when you're about to get in over your head. And it came off rough. I'm gonna continue to believe that in any other situation that never would have happened. I'm gonna continue to believe that because I've liked you a long time. You look, everybody knows the protests are fine. There's nothing wrong with going out there and having your signs and chanting and justice for baby Quentin, and there's nothing wrong with that. No one is saying. Everybody is angry with Billy Joe Howell. She abdicated her authority. She agreed to take care and protect those children, and she walked away from that protection. We all believe that. There's not a single one of us that's sitting around going, oh, poor Billy Joe. Not happening. But we oh my God. You know what this is like? This is like that reporter standing there giving his report to one of the mainstream media. I don't know if it was ABC or what it was, but behind him is a Walgreens or a Target or something, and that sucker is on fire. It is blazing. I mean, flames 100 feet up into the air, 200 feet up into the air. I mean, it was roaring, and he's standing there doing his nightly report, and he says, yes, we are here at the peaceful protest, yada, 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 yada. And everybody was like, what? Excuse me? Turn around. Look. Look behind you. Okay? Yes. We all, let me say it this way. I myself, I can't understand why Leilani has not been arrested, but I'm rational, and I'm rational because I'm an old, wise woman, right? I think after looking at the timeline, and I did, if y'all go and look at my video that I made a few nights ago, AB did one as well that was really great. The timeline really, 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 really throws a spotlight on Danny. Are y'all aware of that? If you know what I'm talking about, that Danny looks like he may have some problems, can you put a 1? If you don't know what I'm talking about Danny's timeline being a problem, put a 2. Okay, yeah, see? We got people. Okay, thank y'all. Hey, Gearhead. Yes. So Danny's got some problems with his timeline, right? Now, let me ask you guys this. You're trying to strong arm an arrest because you're all knowing, right, Betty? Like you're omniscient. We just need to start calling you the Father, the Son, and Betty. And then we got it, right? Because you're God and you know everything, right, Betty? I'm being facetious. I'm being a little snarky, okay? Betty, you don't know everything. You don't know what happened that morning. You don't know. Now, in terms of what we know for certain, like beyond a shadow of a doubt, yes, we know Billy Joe Howell abdicated her position to protect children. That is a certainty, and she has admitted that. She could, I don't know if there's a way that she could be charged for a crime. I don't know those types of things, but she did leave the kids in the care of someone who had lost custody. So that's real. Like I agree with Bullhorn. It was wrong. But, should never have happened. Yeah, I get it. I'm gonna tell you this too. I heard Billy Joe Howell say somewhere, I can't remember where it was now, I gotta work. She said, I have to work. And I recognized that tone in her voice. I recognized the tone in her voice for I'm between a rock and a hard place. And if I don't have an income, if I don't show up at work, I could get fired. And you know how your stomach tightens? You know how when you have kids and you need to be at work, but your kids got a little bit of fever. They're not overly frighteningly sick, but just normal little cold or flu or whatever. And you got to call in sick for work. and your stomach just, you're just like, oh my God, I hope they don't fire me. Oh my God, please don't fire me. Right? We've all been there, right? We've all been there. For the lucky among us, we have grandparents that are like, sure, of course I'll take care of the baby today. Don't worry. Absolutely. Okay. But we've all been there in that moment of, damn, what am I going to do? Okay. So I'm not saying that Billy Joe Howell did right. But what I am saying is that she's human, and that means she messed up. She messed up. Don't forget, y'all, the week before that, she had filed an order to have Leilani removed from her home. She probably rationalized. Her boss probably came down on her and said, you got to be here. We got to do this. Y'all may not recognize this. There are not very many underwater welders in this country, in this entire world, which is why they all make a 6-figure salary. They make big money. Big. Wait a minute. Big money. You're looking at 160, 180, 180,000 a year. Big money. It is on that list of most dangerous jobs in the world, right? So if you're a guy and you're losing, $1 million an hour because your oil well is shut down and you need a welder out there at the bottom of the Gulf of Mexico, when they call you and they say, hey, we got to have you. You promised us that you would be here. We are paying you very well. Get your ass out here. Sorry about your kid, but you got to be here. And she's in that moment, right? She's in that moment that we've all been in, and you're like going, oh my God, I'm going to get fired. And I guarantee you she rationalized. I guarantee she told herself, look, if I leave now, the kids are only going to be with Leilani this afternoon, and then Diana will have them in the morning. It'll be okay. It's not even a whole 24-hour period. It's going to be okay. I know it will be. And I guarantee you she got in that damn truck and she drove away with her stomach tied in knots thinking, I probably shouldn't do this. I probably shouldn't be doing this. I probably shouldn't be. We've all been there. I'm not saying it was right. I'm saying it's human. And it just happened to be that day, Leilani, Danny, drug problems, addiction out of control, and a price was paid. That's it. It's horrible. Horrible. It's the thing that I rail against. I don't know how many times have you guys heard me raging about the substance use that has just gone out of control in this country. We have normalized alcohol to a level that you can go into the damn pharmacy and buy alcohol. It's crazy what we're doing in this country. But here we are. And I might say this, Betty. I think you yourself have been known to knock back a drink or two. Excuse me. I think you yourself have been known to, get a little thirsty every now and then. Now, I'm not taking it. Let me be clear. In no way, shape, form, or fashion am I putting a stamp of approval on Billy Joe Howell or Leilani or any, not at all. It is a disaster over there in that home. It is a disaster from a sociological perspective. Man, they needed help a long time ago. Every one of them needed help. Everyone. Billy Joe, get yourself into treatment. All of you. Go to treatment. Get healthy. Take control of what's happening in your world. I agree with Bullhorn Betty about that 100%. But Betty, never in the history of humanity has anyone ever been shamed into sobriety. It goes against the path to sobriety. Shame, guilt, humiliation feeds addictions. Betty, do you care? I'm going to guess no. I'm going to guess Dolly said it all when he called himself a tragedy pimp. And further convincing us that he was speaking with authority by saying that his pockets were heavy with the money from his subscribers. So, Betty, if what you really want is for homes to be safe for children, if that's what you're really advocating for, then why are you trying to use shame? Why are you terrorizing an entire neighborhood? Why are you guys verbally assaulting a individual out there who's saying, hey guys, quit screaming at these people? If you're really for the good of humanity, then why aren't you being good? Why aren't you serving as a role model? Because, man, Dolly got all caught up in your mirror. Stop before there's a terrible, terrible accident out there. It's coming. The cops see it coming. Everybody sees it coming. Stop. The cops are working this case. The FBI is there. And you're there tearing this family to pieces, and you don't have any idea about the holes in Danny's timeline, Betty. Have you looked at it? Have you quit screeching at the sky long enough to just go through the timeline? Put everybody's testimony together into one piece of paper and look at the timeline so you can see the story of that morning and how it unfolded. And then be in your rational, logical mind, Betty. Get in your wise mind and look at that timeline and ask yourself, could Danny have done it? Was there an opportunity for Danny to do this and then manipulate that Leilani just that she did it, but she just doesn't remember it because she's so zonked out? That is absolutely possible. Especially if they were abusing something like Xanax, a benzodiazepine, which is notorious for destroying memory. Notorious. Danny's got a real problem. And you guys are not. What are you gonna? How does it help? Let's say the most likely scenario, this is what I believe, the most likely scenario is that Leilani and Danny were messed up. They were just zonked out of their minds. And somebody lost their temper. And the baby died. They panicked. They spent 3 or 4 hours running around like chickens with their heads cut off, trying to figure out what to do, which is why you got the door open for hours. And then they construct this narrative. That's the most likely thing. So how does that fit into what you're doing, Betty? How does that fit in? You're gonna focus all of this on Billy Joe and Leilani, and really the focus should be on Leilani and Danny. But because Danny was the only smart one there, you know the whole adage, out of sight, out of mind. Y'all heard of that? Yeah, Danny did too. But the cops are looking at Danny. Make no mistake about it. He's got a real problem. He's got a real problem with his timeline. He really does. I just think, yeah, I'm really disappointed with that. I was, I'm gonna be honest. I was weirded out with that whole thing that happened with Dolly. I got really weirded out by it. It was way too. What? Y'all help me. What's the word for those of you that saw it? What do you? Was it rage? Did he seem like he had a lot of like rage, or that doesn't even seem like the right word? I don't know. It was terrible. Yeah, Barbara. Yeah, sure. Everybody's under suspicion right now. Of course. Yeah. It was degrading, Sundown. It was misogynistic on some level. Twiggy. Listen to, yes. The words came out of his mouth too easily. Yeah, right. Maybe that's what bothered me about it. You might be right about that. Maybe it was the ease that abusive, threatening, frightening tone, right? Morning, Black Rose. How are you? Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Snow Lion. That woman was talking about both of their moms. Yeah, it was terrible. It was really awful. Suppressed rage, misogynistic, brutality. Oh, pink. Yeah, there's the word I was looking for. It was brutal, wasn't it? It was brutal. The way he went at that one woman that had the baby stroller. Oh, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell y'all. I had a moment. I don't know what I looked like, but I know I had the realization my hand was over my mouth. That's a pretty sure sign that I'm in complete shock. He was so abusive. It makes me really think that's how he is to all women. He said those things before to somebody. I have had it said to me. I know exactly what that looks like. Yeah, like he did it with panache, right? Yeah, entitlement. There you go, Truth Seeker. Yeah, it was with panache. It was like it just rolled off his tongue like he had practiced it. Even when he said the I'm a tragedy pimp, my pockets are full of money. I had that same thought. I thought, oh, golly, you've said that before, big guy. Makes me think you might know you're exploiting people. She was threatening them. She put herself in that position. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, wake up. I'm gonna own it. I didn't. So you're saying that the lady with the baby carrier was threatening the protesters? Yes, Barbara. Yeah, me too. That's not new. Well, it was for me, Shannon. I had not ever seen him do that before. I had not seen that. And like I said, I've been watching him a long time. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. She got close enough to. She smacked Bullhorn? Really? Nope. She came there basically to say that what they're doing isn't cool. She was one woman. He had no right to go off like that. And now a lot of people are saying no. Wake up. You are completely trolling me now. Behave. Because I would believe, I try to believe everything that people tell me. No, she didn't. You listen, you went too far. And here's how I know you're trolling. Because if anyone smacked Betty in the nose, it would be a rodeo. Okay. They would still be fighting. Bullhorn would not walk away from that. No, 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 no. Okay, so now we have somebody who says Dolly did apologize for his behavior, so I can respect that. I can totally respect it. 100%. If he apologizes, awesome. Um, and that's what I said. That's what I said. I think I like Dolly. Um, I'm a lot older than most of his channel, so I don't really like go in there and engage with people. But I like to listen to him. He's a funny guy. He's interesting. Um, what I think happened. I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't. I mean, maybe he's got his moments. Okay, definitely. But I mean, maybe we all do on some level. But here's what I think happened. I think that he went down there. Of course, we're all trying to grow our channels. We all want our channels to do well. And this is something, it's working for Bullhorn. Her channel is growing. It's successful. It's doing good. He's made friends with her. And, she probably said, no, you got to come down here and do this because people will subscribe because they want to see live action. So he goes down there to grow his channel. That's his brand. I'm not judging on that. Don't misunderstand me. I think that's fine. And it doesn't matter if I think it's not fine. I'm not the mommy here that's giving my seal of approval. I'm just saying my own opinion on this whole thing. I don't see anything wrong with them being there. I just don't like the riot that nearly took place yesterday. And I think that Billy Joe Howell needs to make better decisions. And number one, Billy Joe, get the hell out of the limelight. Get out of the front yard. I don't even know what that was about. Quit yelling at the protesters over your fence. Quit doing that. Don't get in your backyard and get drunked up and then go out there and think that they're all going to be like, oh, Billy Joe, we're so sorry. That's not going to happen, Billy Joe. It's like electricity for a big ass spotlight. When you show up, all the spotlights go ding, and it's just brighter in the middle of the afternoon. Your electricity, your nuclear energy right now, Billy Joe. You and your kids need to be away from any camera anywhere. Put newspaper up over your windows so they can't see inside your house. Stop hanging out, leaning over your fence like you're Wilson, yelling. Quit. You got people running out of your backyard like they're going to beat up one of the protesters. It's so silly, Billy Joe. Quit. You wouldn't carry on like that at work. Ain't no way in hell you'd be doing the job you're doing if you're that foolish and irrational. Tighten up, Billy Joe. Get your crap together. Make good decisions. I don't know who the hell told you to go out there in that front yard, but that was a wrong thing to do. And I'm going to tell y'all this, the whole entire channel. If it was me, if I was Billy Joe right now today, right now, I would be loading up and I would leave my home. And of course, the YouTube creators, what are they going to do? They're going to pile in their cars and they're going to follow behind. They're going to chase you wherever you go because they're being goober heads, right? I'd go straight up to the police station and I would sit inside that police station all day long, all day. And one way or the other, I would get a cop to take me out in their car and take me to an unknown hotel. And that's where I would stay until the arrest happened. I would get away from that fire keg. If today they continue with what went on yesterday, they it just about got out of control yesterday. What do you guys think? It just about topped off. It came dangerously close. And the cop said that. The cop said that. I'll tell you something else that I agree with Bullhorn on. I absolutely agree. This police chief is not doing his job. They are not keeping their community safe. You know what, police chief? That is not a football game going on down there. Those people are not tailgating. And what you ought to do is you ought to have somebody there at the station watching those live feeds. And when you see it kick off like it did yesterday, you ought to go down there and you got to arrest those people that are being abusive to one another, including the lady with the baby buggy. If she's over there screeching and yelling at Bullhorn, she should be arrested for terroristic threats. But for God's sake, Billy Joe, get the hell out of the yard, man. Stop. That is just giving that you gave them what they wanted. Now I know what it was. I get it that it was the whole, I'm strong. You're not going to run me out of my home. I know that. I get that you're just trying to regain a little bit of control. But you know what, Billy Joe? Control is an illusion. In the best of circumstances, nobody really has control. The forces of the mystic change things in an instant. We have no control over it. That's what you're living right now. Something happened to your baby, and there's no way of knowing now what it was. No way. You are out of control as just the metaphysical forces in this universe. But it doesn't mean you have to completely spiral out of control. There are things you still have within your control, Billy Joe. You can get up in the morning. You can put on clean clothes. You can go make you some coffee. You can make a decision not to drink or use other drugs for the day, or use a small fraction. If you've got a physiological addiction, use a fraction of what you would normally use. Try to put some headphones on, listen to some music that you enjoy. Maybe you guys watch a movie. There are things that are still within your control, but you don't have any control over those protesters in front of your house, not a bit. You going and sitting out in the front yard did nothing but escalate. Every time they see you, they escalate. Whether they see you looking at them over the fence or sitting in the lawn chair, they escalate. They are wanting some content for their channel. They want, what did Betty say? I mean, she was strutting around in the middle of that road like a cock rooster getting ready to fight. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty shit show, y'all. Now that is a hashtag. Hashtag things you'd never thought you would hear. Who in the world talks like that? But she did, and she meant it. She was serious. She was serious. I was like, what? What? Come on. Come on, stop. But, and I'll tell you, I said, I was laughing when she said it. And I said to my husband, I said, look at this. This woman believes that she's Johnny Depp and the Hollywood cameras are rolling. She thinks she's in some kind of Fight Club movie, right? She's out there, strutting, got her chest stuck out. Ooh, I'm a badass. I'm a bad woman. Yeah, Billy Joe. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty shit show. She kept on walking. Boom, ba-dum, boom, 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 ba-dum, boom. Ba, 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 ba. And I looked at my husband and I said, Billy Joe is an underwater welder. She would clean the streets with Bullhorn Betty in a real physical altercation. Now, I don't think Betty wanted a physical altercation. I think she's playing a role. She's making a movie. It was hyperbole and show. And hey, I think Betty has quite a flair for the dramatic. It's okay. I have a little bit of that in myself. It's all right. Makes life interesting as long as you're not married to it. Right, Bill? He said, huh? But look, Betty, I get you. I get you're aware of your channel. The cameras are. It's okay, Bill. Go away. He came in and he said, "What'd you say?" We live lives of quiet desperation over here. Anyway, back to my drama. No, she's making a movie. I don't mean Hollywood, but for her content for her channel, she's promoting. She's building a alter identity. She's promoting Bullhorn Betty, not just Betty that's, had her fair share of legal trouble, right? Like some people do. Not that she's a bad person, but some people live lives that are pretty big, right? She's not talking about the boring Betty. She doesn't want the regular, average Joe Betty on her channel. She's creating a character for you guys. She's creating a character, and the character is Bullhorn Betty. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty shit show, coming to a network near you. Y'all, who remembers Honey Boo Boo? If you remember Honey Boo Boo, put a 1. Honey Boo Boo. Oh no, I don't know who said Bullhorn Betty was a follower. Nope. That F word is not in her lexicon. No, she is not a follower. She has 3,000. I thought she had like 30, 50,000 subscribers. Billy Joe and Blowhard Betty. Arc welder versus Bullhorn. Who's your money on, Caledonia? Yeah, I know these welders, right? Uh-huh. Yeah, that's what I thought Gearhead. Yeah, she's got like 20,000 subs. She's building quite a channel. Okay, so no, I don't know who said that Bullhorn is a follower. No. She's not a follower. She is absolutely 100% in front of the pack. Wait a minute. What cross-eyed Betty say? It was quiet yesterday until the elderly grandmother came out there. Are you who? Oh gosh, I don't know what word. Let me put a I don't know if anybody wants to come up. Let me put a link because I don't know what that is. I don't know what you mean that an elderly grandmother came out. I don't know what that means. So anybody wants to come up and kind of give their opinion or explain to me what you're talking about, I'd be happy to. Okay, so sorry, I got distracted by my phone. Leilani showed no emotion over Quentin. Yeah, Cassie, that's a whole nother video, right? I noticed that. I'm feeling really disturbed by the detachment that Leilani is showing. I don't know. There was a few moments yesterday that she seemed like she might have been, I don't know, she just seems unaffected. She seems emotionally numb. And I don't know if she's always that way. Uh, is it the drug use? Is it something like a sociopathy? I mean, I don't know. I don't know anything about her before any of this, and but definitely now, currently, yeah, she is definitely detached. I think when you uh I think when you look at Billy Joe Howell, that she is suffering. Can we all agree, if you believe that Billy Joe Howell is legitimately living in hell, put a 1. Hey Thomas, I can't imagine what's going to happen when JLR and MGL get there. Are they going there? Thomas, do not tell me that. Are they going there? Oh my God. Supposed to. Yes, they are. Supposedly they are. On Monday or Tuesday. Crap. That is not good. Billy Joe, you guys need to get the hell out of Dodge. And you do it with the sheriff's office. You don't go missing on your own. You contact sheriffs, you tell them you're ready to go to a hotel, but you got people following you, and you ask them for reinforcement. Trust me, they're going to help you. They do not want to deal with somebody getting beat up or getting shot or worse down there in front of that house. They don't want that. They want all of this circus to go away. Man, God. Hey, you know, what do I know? Man, that's just terrible. Here's one of my big problems. When all of this fanfare is going on, what happens to Quentin? Are they keeping Quentin front and center? No, they're not, are they? He gets lost in all of the BS. I can agree Billy Joe appears to be hurting, but she should not have left Quentin with this mom. Oh, yeah, no, 100%. She damn sure screwed up. No doubt. She messed up big. Big. And here's when you try to reconcile that, you got to remember she was trying to kick Leilani and Danny out of the house. She went the legal route to have Leilani evicted. She knew that it was a bad choice when she made it. And I guarantee you she was getting pressure from her job, and she just made a bad she was under pressure, she made a bad choice. That's kind of what I think may have happened. But regardless of how it happened, y'all, here we are, okay? Regardless, true crime Karens, they need to separate themselves from share too. I don't know what that means. Okay, so all right, so they need to separate themselves from share. She's fueling the fire, in my opinion. Absolutely, someone is fueling the fire. Hey, listen, true crime Karen. Here's what I'm mystified by. who the hell told them to go out in the front yard? Let me ask y'all. I mean, we're a pretty calm group over here. If you were in the same situation, you had a mob outside of your house angry at you about something you may or may have not have done, would you think for a moment that sitting out in full view of all their cameras would be a good choice? If you would think that sitting in the front yard would be a good choice, put a 1. If your choice would be to hide any evidence that you were even in your house, put a 2. One month before there had been a domestic violence situation between the two. Well, and I think, yeah, so I think we agree this is probably a home where there's a lot of people hitting each other, right? That this is sort of their way of dealing with conflict, is to sort of give themselves permission to, twist off. Yeah. Yeah. Look. Okay. So Jason says, that he would go out in the front yard, but Jason may be, he may like, he too may have a flair for the dramatic. but everybody else is saying, no, I would stay out of sight. I wouldn't let them get any, not even a peek at me or my family members. A few points. Cher told Grandma to tell the crowd she was talking to Cher. Oh, I don't like that. Oh, you mean, wait. So you mean, I don't think I understand. A few points. Cher even told the grandmother to tell the crowd that she was talking to Cher. Yeah, Leo, girl, I think that people that are in like law enforcement, or I think they would, or people that understand that they do a job where they have to understand human behavior. They would tell you that you wouldn't want to be out where the protesters could see you, because the visual cue is very powerful. If they stay hidden and they're not peeking over the fence and they're not running down the driveway gonna beat somebody up, if they stay hidden and they stay out of the camera, out of the sight of the protesters, then the emotion dies down. The emotion begins to go to what we call extinction. But each new time they come forward, that is a new provocation. So it just keeps the cycle going. Nothing. These protesters are highly emotional. They are not in their wise mind. There is no rational thought. They are being illogical. Well, except for Betty, who knows how to work the crowd. But everybody else, they're just there being a mirror, acting out what they saw Bullhorn do, being offensive, that kind of thing. In the hopes, I think, the idea is to exert a great deal of pressure on Leilani, and that it will make Leilani snap, and she'll go run into the police and say, I did it. Lock me up, save me from the protesters. I think that may be the general idea, right? However, it's the wrong execution of the right idea. In a real world, in vivo setting, that kind of pressure never works. Never. It just ends up escalating both sides emotionally, and then you get things like Walgreens getting burned to the ground. Yeah, well, there's that too. Much endeavor. So I look, that brings me to another thought too. So Much Endeavor says, maybe if Billy Joe stays inside with her daughter, she will choke her to death. Okay, not funny. That was a nervous laugh, but I'm with you. There's a couple of things I've noticed. Pay attention. Billy Joe stays far away from Leilani. Did y'all notice that? She stays away from her. If she does look at her, she kind of looks at Leilani like, where'd you come from? Are you like from Mars? Like, how did you get here? I don't recognize you. Billy Joe looks like she doesn't believe a word coming out of Leilani's mouth. I thought the little interviews that they did was just a categorical disaster. Yes, Truth Seeker is a great point. So when Billy Joe and the kids go out and sit in the front yard like they're at a zoo, it's like the protesters are at a zoo and Billy Joe and the kids are animals in the zoo. Like, come look at us, here we are. And I would like to have asked whomever came up with that idea, I would like to have asked them, what is your goal? Like, what is the ultimate goal here? Is it to diffuse the protesters? Is it to get the protesters to go away? Is it to suck the protesters into the madness and make them be your friend? Like, what are you hoping to gain from this putting yourself on display? And then I would have followed up with exactly what Truth Seeker says. If you go out and sit in front, you're basically throwing fuel on a fire. You're making yourself gasoline for a fire that already started with the missing and possible death of Quentin. No, don't go out there. We don't need any gasoline. Things are bad enough already. You got a 20-month-old baby dead and nobody will take responsibility for what happened to him. No, we don't need you out there fueling them. Is that accurate, Truth Seeker? Coming in front shows they're not scared, but they're not. But the protesters don't care. That you're making the assumption that they have a conversation going on with these protesters. There's no conversation. The protesters were out there playing crying baby noises. They're dressed up. It's like Lord of the Flies out there. No, there's no rational, logical thought coming from the protesters. They're 100% in their fields. They're driven by their emotion only. And while I was busy asking Billy Joe, what is your goal? What are you trying to accomplish? And let's see if we can come up with a more effective way of accomplishing it. I'd be very happy to ask the same question of the protesters. What is your goal? What are you hoping to achieve? Well, I wanted to tell the truth. I wanted to tell what happened to the baby. I want her arrested. I want. I'm going to guess that that's kind of the flavor of the answer that we would get to that question. And my answer would be, okay, well, if what you're wanting is for Leilani to come clean and tell the truth, then you, first of all, have to relax the situation. And you've got to give her a reason to tell the truth. You've got to make her feel safe in telling the truth, if that's what you want her to do. Because people that are unsafe, people that feel like they are in danger, they shut down. They close down. They stop communicating. How many of you guys have watched interrogations by the police? Hey, can I get you a bottle of water? Oh, you want a Diet Coke? Absolutely. I'll get you Diet Coke. Hey, we're going to be here a little while. I'm going to order some pizza. Would you like pepperoni? What kind do you like? Of course you'll be able to call your husband, your mother, your father. But let's just finish this right now and then you can call. Let's get these questions answered and then you can make that call. The investigators are not in there throwing chairs around the room and screaming into the faces of the perpetrator with spittle flying. That crap it doesn't work, y'all. It's ineffective. Hell, even the damn military knows that. Even with waterboarding. Waterboarding is ineffective unless there's a path to a known reward. And so you tell the person that you're about to torture, okay, person, here's what we want to know. These are the two questions we need you to answer truthfully. I don't know the answer to those. Oh, okay. Well, we're going to help you change your mind because we know that you do know the answer. We're going to help you change your mind by dumping you in water. And just about the time you feel like you're about to breathe a big old breath of water into your lungs, we're going to lift you up. We're going to give you an opportunity to tell us one answer. If you'll tell us one answer, not only will we pull you out of that water, but we're going to give you a towel to dry off. Hey, you know what? If you answer two of the questions that we've given you, we're going to bring you a hamburger. You hungry? We'll give you a hamburger. We just need a couple answers. Oh, I swear to God, I don't know. Dip, back in the water you go. And then you pull them up out of the water. You need a towel? Okay, what's the answer to my first question? And then usually they're like, oh, blah, 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 blah. You give them a towel. Well, you know what happens? Something magical happens when you give them that towel, that first reward. They're like, oh, shit, I'm in control. Once that person knows that they're in control, that all they have to do is play the game, play by the rules of the interrogator, then it's just going to be good stuff all day long. You're going to get hamburgers. You're going to get fresh apples and bananas. You're even going to get to put your feet up and lay down and sleep for a little while. Life is good for a terrorist who is talking. They get televisions. They get to watch movies as long as they're talking. You got to make them feel safe. You got to give them a sense of control. You got to give them a path to a reward. And then people will talk. But what Bullhorn is out there doing, it's not going to work. It is making it worse. It is not going to work. The cops, I guarantee you at this point right now, the cops are watching this and they're going, well, guys, you know what? It does us absolutely nothing to bring her in for questioning again. She has detached with all of that chaos going on, all of those threats, all of that sick crap like crying babies. She is now detached from her emotions. If we bring her in and try to question her, she will not be motivated to say anything and it will not bother her. So all of this chaos out there, that's actually interfered with proper investigation. And anyone that knows more advanced training related to psychology understands that. But I get it, man. Don't get me wrong. I get the indignation. And we are Americans. We have the right to be out there protesting and making our opinions known. Absolutely. Absolutely. But speech is not unlimited. Speech cannot be used to incite violence, and it cannot be used to put people in dangerous situations. And what happened yesterday was Firecatch. I think that Dolly is a good guy, and I think he turned into a mirror yesterday, and I think he was simply mirroring Bullhorn Betty. I don't think that's who. I think if she had not been there and he was there on his own, I think we would have seen the same lovable guy. I believe that. But I think he kind of, like the primal scream therapy, I think he got into the spirit of the moment, and it had very bad results. So please, Bullhorn Betty and Dolly, this is really making YouTube creators look bad. It's making all of us look bad. It really is. It's not getting the things that you're claiming that you want. It's not working. All it's doing is making people of YouTube look insane. That's all it's doing. You know what, Bullhorn? The stuff that went down yesterday and last night, you actually made yourselves look worse than Billy Joe. Now, it's not true. I mean, Billy Joe made a terrible decision that resulted in a missing kid. But I'm talking about in terms of optics, it looks that way. It looked like Lord of the Flies out there. It looked like you guys had all gone insane. It was like a psychedelic freak show. That does not help a missing baby. It doesn't. Well, you know what, Sky Z? So Sky says Cher isn't helping the investigation either, fully inserting herself like she has. It is sick. All of it. All of it, Sky. All of it. The whole kit and caboodle is just a disaster, right? I mean, it's just gone from crazy to crazier, craziest. It's a mess. That's what it is, y'all. It's a mess. And I don't, at this point, the people I think that may have, some power to maybe de-escalate is Billy Joe. And that is to simply get out of sight. Billy Joe, if you find this, listen to me. What did Danny do? Danny jumped in a car and disappeared, didn't he? And have you seen any of this circus around Danny? No. Why? Because it's not fun. If nobody's watching Danny, why are all the protesters going to go down there and dress up like turtles and act stupid? Because nobody will be there to watch them. They're not doing this for the good of Quentin. They're not doing this for the good of law enforcement. They're doing this to grow their channels because people are watching it. Betty said it herself. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty shit show. She said it. Dolly said it. Hey, I'm a tragedy pimp. My pockets are full of money. They both said it. The reality is, Danny's got a real problem with his timeline. And I'm going to promise you this. I bet you anything the cops have not left Danny yet. I bet Danny is still on the table in terms of potential suspects. What do y'all think? That has also been kept quiet, Sky, that Paul was in the house the morning that Quentin went missing. Nobody's talking about that, are they? Why? He was there. Paul was there. Danny was there. Leilani was there. Why are we not looking at the other two? Don't be silly, Forever Trolling. Nobody is being defended on this channel right now. I think the whole entire gang has made some serious missteps. Now, let me say this. there are some protesters out there that are not being like, one flew over the cuckoo's nest, right? There are some protesters out there that are just legitimately saying, where is Quentin? Like, where is the baby? If you know, you need to tell. Okay, so those are not the people I'm addressing. I'm addressing those people that things got dangerous. That's what I'm talking about. And I am not defending Billy Joe, because I have said how many times it was a dumb decision to go out in that front yard. That was dumb. So I don't know, a troll person. I don't know why you think I could be protecting or not protecting, but speaking up for, no, I think it is a powder keg situation. The police chief is wrong by not shutting the whole thing down. The police ought to have 2 officers out there, one on each end of the row of the street, watching what's happening. They've got to get it under control. They have got to get that under control, or it's going to be a disaster. Cher made Billy Joe a mod on her channel. My God. Oh my God. It's like these people are tone deaf. It's like they don't get it. Billy Joe, this isn't a game that you're in, Billy Joe. There's no winning it. Here's what you do. You have to diffuse it. You have to just become invisible, Billy Joe. And you've got to let the police find out what happened to Quentin. That's it. You owe nothing to YouTube. You owe nothing to the protesters, and they don't owe you anything. This is not a story about the protesters. This is about a missing little kid. You going out in that front yard did nothing except escalate, like throwing gasoline on a fire. Do not go out in front of everybody. You are not going to befriend them. Do you understand, Billy Joe? You will never get them to be your friend. They are not going to be your friend. If they were to become your friend, they would not have any content for their channel. This is not about Quentin. This is about their channels and the content and viewership. This is them doing their jobs. They are working. You, on the other hand, this is about your family. So protect yourself and go back inside that house. Cover up those windows that are facing the front and stop getting drunk and screaming and yelling from the backyard, creating a spectacle. If you have any hopes at all for this thing to go into extinction, for this behavior to get boring so that people don't show up out there anymore, you've got to go missing. Here's a clue, Billy Joe. It is called a learning curve. Okay. When you notice that the protesters are getting loudest, when they ramp up and escalate, you're in hiding, you're not responding, you guys can't be seen or heard from at all, you will begin to notice that the protesters will get louder and louder and louder and louder. And that tells you that you are very close to it all coming to an end. The negative behavior always escalates right before the brain learns and says, this is useless, and you stop. Now you're starting right back over at the very beginning of the learning cycle. Go in the house. Cover the windows up so they can't peep in through your blinds. Have your groceries delivered. Watch funny movies, listen to music, sleep, take hot baths, but don't get drunk. Don't use substances. And for God's sake, don't peek out to see what they're doing out front. They're going to be there, and they're going to be making it a circus. Halloween is on its way, Billy Joe. That will be the worst night of all. Don't give them any content. Don't give them any contact. Do not. You're not going to make friends of them. You're not going to scare them into silence. This is one of those situations. This is a situation where you have to recognize the things you can control, the things you can't control, and have the wisdom to know the difference, Billy Joe. You have no way of controlling the protesters. None. But you can control what you do inside of your own house. You want to take back some control? Go into your house. Throw all the alcohol out. No substances. And the reason I say that is because when you guys, with anybody, when they're drinking, when they're getting high, when they're doing whatever, they're not having their full faculties about them and they get more emotional. You don't want to have any emotion. You want to be 100% logical right now. And I'm going to tell you this too. It was a terrible decision to put Paul out there. Terrible. Rather to act dumb than to give a reason for others to create doubt. They need to make them seem awful and terrible. Northern, find your people. Let me find out what Northern is saying. Where are Northern? You are not there. No, I'm not Northern. I'm with you. You are not there. You did not see, so you cannot say, I'm sorry. What place is this of yours besides making money off of this story and baby sick? Okay, Northern. Well, first of all, you're not paying attention to my channel because I'm not making money off of the Quentin story. The reason that I'm making this commentary, Northern, is because things got scary yesterday. And I think that the YouTube creators are, there's so many people that are watching what's happening in front of the house that I think it makes the YouTube creator, I think it makes YouTube community as a whole, I think it makes us look really, really bad. I am in a position that I understand behavioral modification. I understand conditioning. And I mean, I can write a plan for behavior modification. And the goals, I think that Betty has stated, what they want from Billy Joe and is what y'all are doing in front of the house is not going to scientifically, what we know empirically about behavior modification, what y'all are doing in front of the house is not going to get the stated goal. You're actually cutting your nose off to spite your face. What you're doing out in front of the house, you're actually reducing the likelihood that Leilani is going to come clean about what happened. And that's why I'm speaking out, Northern. I'm trying to put accurate information into the mix so people can make some better decisions. That what really, really matters is that the baby is missing and they need to try to bring him home one way or the other. This isn't it. This isn't the way it's going to happen. Nothing about what went on last night or yesterday afternoon into last night. Nothing about that helped Quentin Simon. Yeah, Pink, that's the other part, right? You would hope you know, but that's kind of beyond like my concern. My concern is, well, okay, so here's calming the chaos. Oh my God, thank you. Reinforcements. Okay, calming the chaos is another licensed behavioral person. We're just trying to tell you what we know. Okay, we're not protecting anyone. I can sit here and I can find fault in every side that played out yesterday. My one concern, I'm very concerned about the safety of all the people there. Everyone. In fact, when I turned on and I saw Billy Joe Howell in the front yard, I just threw my hands up in the air and I thought, what dumbass suggested this? This was the absolute worst choice that Billy Joe could have made. I have no idea who decided that was a good idea. I don't know what the goal was, but in no way did it do anything to make the environment safer. And my only concern, Northern, is that this be a safe protest. And don't get me wrong. I don't run around trying to see where I can stick my nose into other people's business. I pretty much stay in my lane because otherwise it's chaos. But what happened yesterday was dangerous. It was dangerous. Y'all gotta simmer down. It is a boiling pot out there. Y'all gotta get it under control. You guys are not gonna terrorize Leilani into talking. She's already detached. Betty, go back and look at the video that you took of her. Look at her. She is emotionally shut down, Betty. It's over. All of your tactics that you use where you think, oh, well, nobody is as good as me to use all these mean tactics. No, people have the great capacity for being mean, Bullhorn. It's just that most people have a filter and they make a decision. No, I don't want to terrorize another person for any reason. There's ways to get goals achieved through proper channels with dignity and respect. But that's not your MO. I get it. I'm okay with that. It's not my place to tell you what to do on your channel. But it is my place when I recognize there's danger afoot and you are trying to use behavior modification tactics and you are using them wrong, Betty. Wrong. It is a misapplication of the science, what you're saying. We're going to go out there, we're going to turn that heat up on them, and we're going to make them so uncomfortable, and they're finally going to break, and they're finally going to come clean, and yay, Bullhorn Betty is the victor. Woo! Wrong. You have just proven you know nothing about the behavior of other people. Nothing. All you know is fear. That's all you know how to use to make someone do what you want them to do, is to be mean. And actually, empirically, that is not the most efficient way of getting people to do what you want them to do. So no, I'm not running around sticking my nose into places that it doesn't belong. I'm seeing something that is getting very dangerous, and it is getting fueled by the misapplication of my subject matter. Listen to this, Bullhorn. That night that you guys went out there and y'all were playing the crying baby noises, do you know that would have been considered a war crime? You don't know that, do you? That's how out of touch you are. You think you're the first person to ever come up with this idea that you're going to terrorize someone into doing what you want them to do? You think you're the first person? No. North Korea, the Vietnamese, they all had that same idea. Nazi Germany, they all had that same idea a long time ago, Betty. You're not the first one. Stop. Let the cops do what the cops have been trained to do. They know how to get confessions out of people. But you guys are creating an environment that the questioning of Leilani at this point is not even any good. It does nothing at this point. All of the terror and the horror that you guys have cooked up out there in front of the house has done nothing but make her detach. Emotionally, she is shut down. She is locked down. She is not going to speak. And Billy Joe, here, you guys want to know why Billy Joe is falling to pieces right before our very eyes? Because she does not know what happened. She does not have the information. And she is being exposed to the same level of psychological warfare that Leilani is. But she legitimately doesn't have a choice to make a decision. Ooh, should I tell what I know or not? She doesn't know. What you're doing is psychological abuse that would be a war crime. No different than waterboarding. I didn't see that Sundown Farm. It's not funny. It's just, of course they did. Of course her teeth fell out. Of course they did. That was just the cherry on the cake of the day yesterday. Thank God I didn't see it. Hi, Cassie Roku. Lord, y'all. Oh my gosh, we are human beings, right? Aren't we supposed to be compassionate? Aren't we supposed to be compassionate human individuals? It's just a mess. You don't need to go, Billy Joe, you do not need to go in the public eye to seek acceptance. You're risking incrimination and giving cops more evidence to investigate you. So like I said, whoever did this to the baby, they need to go down hard. I'm 100% there. But my concern is the level of safety out there. The psychological tactics that they're using is gone. They have to quit. Listen to how bad it is, y'all. Listen, I can't really. My hands are tied a little bit here, so I got to be careful what I say. But listen to this. Dolly does an interview with Court TV. Okay. Do y'all know what that would have done for his channel? Did y'all see Jay for Justice when she did her thing? When you end up getting one of these interviews and getting brought up onto the channel, your channel just explodes. It's such a good thing for your channel, right? So Dolly gets an interview with Court TV. How amazing is that? I mean, when I heard that, I was like, yeah, you go, Dolly. Hell yeah. Good for you. Now, this was before the Bullhorn Betty shit show came, yesterday, erupted. So he gets this interview. They do a great interview. Everything's going great. Well, guess what happened? When Court TV saw the baby crying, heard the baby sounds crying, saw the aggression. Yeah, welcome to the Bullhorn Betty shit show, y'all. When all of that drama played out, guess what Court TV did? They pulled Dolly's interview. They pulled Dolly's interview. Hurt him bad. It's really sad. Really, really sad. Everybody can go out there and protest and have your signs and do your chants and say, do your interviews and give your position, talk about the baby, talk about CPS failure, talk about the problems of substance abuse and what the role that they play in domestic violence. There's so much good that can come from this situation out front of that house. But it is not happening because you guys have decided, ooh, we're going to use psychological warfare and force them to do what we want them to do. You don't have the training to use psychological warfare. You don't have the first clue how to do it. It's not abuse. It is 100% giving people full control over what's happening to them. And they can either be in a state of discomfort or they can take an avenue of reinforcement and comfort. And you put it in their hands. They make the choices. But you don't even know that, Betty. You don't know a damn thing about what you're doing. You're playing out some war movie that you've seen somewhere with some hard ass walking around. Oh, we're gonna waterboard. We're gonna play what was her name? Something Jane. Tokyo Jane, not Tokyo Jane. Hanoi Jane. Hanoi. What was her name? Hanoi something. We're going to play her voice all night long, over and over and over. We're going to torture them and make them do. Stop, Betty. You are not an army general, and this is not a war. You're just out there making a spectacle of yourself. And because people like to watch drama, they're all tuning in. Stop. God, it's just, ugh. I don't know. And there's no winners here, is there? There's no winners. No, there's no, you can't look at any of this so far. No one has stood up and said, hey, you know what? I think I will use this to bring attention to the problem of addiction and domestic violence. I think we'll talk about how, you know, our hopeless youth are at a heightened degree of committing child abuse against their children. No one is saying anything that's workable, usable, where there's a good solution that can happen and that maybe the next child doesn't have to suffer. The whole thing is turned into suffer, 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 hurt, 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 hurt. That's all you're doing. You got a missing 20-month-old that's been abused, beaten, disappeared. Now you guys are abusing and beating. Stop. At some point, somebody's got to stand up and reclaim your humanity. The thing about it is, she says all about our rights, but when New Jersey lady got there to do the same, because it wasn't what BHB wants her to ask, now she wants her rights shut down. I don't know what you're talking about, Laura. The thing about it is the New Jersey lady the is it Michelle? Is that her name? Oh, she's there, Slim. It's coming. She's going to be hospitalized soon. Watch. Mark my words. I'm not defending anyone, but remember the case with twins. When one was killed by a neighborhood kid, the family looked really guilty too. But the difference is they were not partying. Oh my God, I have not been following this very closely. I've missed a lot. I didn't know all this. It's terrible. Oh my God, it was, oh, Kim, yesterday was, ugh. I wept. It was a panel on Cher's channel, and it was, I think, Chasing Truth, Queen Bee, Billy Joe, and Cher. I believe that's right. It's gotten weird. Let me say it this way. When you create so much aggression and potential violence that you now become the criminal, and the people, the suspects, are starting to look like victims, your plan is not working. Does that make sense? So Betty, the Betty shit show is predicated upon the belief that she can terrorize another human being to the point that they will break and bend to Betty's will. That's the shit show that she speaks of. But that's not reality. That's only what gets portrayed in movies. And it's not reality of in vivo people living a true experience. There are far more efficient ways to work with people to get to their truth that doesn't include abuse and terrorizing others. And at this point now, Betty, you guys have used tactics that are abhorrent to most of us. You have used obscene tactics to a level that people are now beginning to feel like they have to step up and put a buffer in between you and Billy Joe. So when your tactics, Betty, get you to a point that you look like the criminal and the suspects look like the victims, your tactics have lost. It's time for you to step back and regroup and come up with a more rational plan, because you are shining your spotlight on prime suspects and you have turned them into victims. You're losing the battle, Betty. Bullhorn Betty yelled, "Your baby has maggots and trash on his head." Does that sound like sanity to anyone? Does that sound it in any way? Does that sound like an intelligent, compassionate human being at all? Cher is flying over there next week. That is not a good idea. That is not a good idea. Oh my God. Yeah, right, Shay? I'm mystified. I am mystified. No, it's disturbing. It is disturbing from a core level that that idea would even come into someone's head, much less that you would voice it. It's horrifying. That is not a good idea for Cher to go over there. I think if Cher comes back to this country, I don't know about that, Hairby. I don't know what that is. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sure there are children who live nearby. Yes, Callie. Yes, there's children there. Not just children that live in the neighborhood. There are children that protesters are bringing with them. It's so terrifying. Good afternoon. Glad to hear your take on this insanity. Well, things got weird yesterday, Strawberry Wine. Got really weird. She has Crimean charges. What are Crimean charges? Crimean charges. Let me see what that means. Oh my God. Oh my God. Molly and Justin are coming in on Monday. So basically what you guys are telling me is I just wasted an hour of my breath. Oh. Yeah, don't you hate spell check? I was going, wait, now Crimea is a place in Europe. Sorry, Harabee. I was very confused. Hi, Marlena. Sheriff can go advocate for a suspect, but can't come to see. Oh, I'm not gonna say that. I don't believe they're doing this for the baby. They are doing this to make money and bring attention to themselves. I don't have to have seen a lot to hear it that way. Oh, it's just sad. So let me show one more. Let me show one more thing, and then I'm going to have to end this. Let's look at this little bit. This was a circus act going on. I think it was the night before last, I believe. So let's just take a look at this circus act. Let me make sure you guys can see this. Oh yeah. You know, we it's a 3-ring circus, right? So this was what was playing in ring 2 for your viewing pleasure. Oh, it's the ghost of baby Quentin. Oh, it's so isn't that nice? We've got psychological warfare happening out there, but now, you know, even the mystic is going to get involved. Oh yeah. Little baby Quentin is going to be running around out in the circus, being a part of festivities in ring 2. And who is your ring master? Well, usually the ring master is the one that's right in the center of the ring, correct? I would assume that would be the guy with the light. What do y'all think? Who knows who that is? Yeah, of course. It's Dolly. Let's look and see if we can see the ghost of baby Quentin. Where's the ghost of baby Quentin? Now notice there's some things here and here and here. Some rather curious lights set up out here. Let me slow this down. Boop doop doop boop 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 boop. You see right there? See that? It starts back over here. It's a circus, and Dolly's at the center. Right there. It pops up right here, and then you can see it go right through here, and it'll get just about to right here as soon as it's out of that light, and then it dissipates. They're just using light tricks. Oh my God, it's baby Quentin. It's the ghost of baby Quentin. Oh my God, it's the ghost of baby Quentin. Oh, it's obscene. It's obscene. Quit. Quit. Right? This baby was flesh and blood, real. This child mattered. This is it's an abomination. It's an abomination. Stop. This isn't about protest. People protest all the time. We live in the United States of America, for goodness sake. Protest is our bread and butter. There's nothing wrong with it. This is not protesting when you're going out there and you're screaming at someone well, I'm not even going to repeat it because it's so horrible. Quit. You don't know what you're doing. You don't understand psychological warfare. You're losing. You are making Leilani a sympathetic figure. Quit. And for God's sake, whomever it was that said, hey, Billy Joe, that's going to be a really great idea for you to go out in that yard and reclaim your property. They don't know what they're doing. Quit listening to them, Billy Joe. They steered you 100% wrong from a psychological point of view. Follow your instinct, Billy Joe. Protect yourself. Cover up the windows. Don't go in the backyard peeking over the fence. For God's sake, throw out all the substances so that you can keep your rational logic wits about you and let the cops do what they're going to do. You don't have to be a part of the circus. All right, I'm done. Look, here's the truth. This will do nothing. This will make no impact on anyone. They're all having fun. They're all enjoying themselves. They're making tons of money. That's it. That's the way it's going to be. But I felt compelled. You should, Betty, it would be a really good idea for your cause to back off from the obscenity, the comments about Quentin in the landfill. Back away from that. Protest, but stop with trying to use psychological warfare. The loud noises, the screaming till the early hours of the morning, lights being shined, all those things. Stop. You don't know what you're doing. You don't even understand what the Geneva Convention is. You don't know. You're playing with something you don't understand, Betty. Stop, okay? But absolutely draw attention to the fact that the cops are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And one of those is keeping that neighborhood safe, and they have failed there. You're not going to force them to do what you want them to do. And like I said, y'all, they're making money. They're raking it in. And as long as they're doing that, if they don't have any kind of ethical compulsions, they don't care. They don't care who they hurt. They don't care. They don't care. They're just putting up the shit show. And those of you that want to watch it, it'll be there for you. And if you don't want to watch it, fine. And some people are funding it. Some people are just throwing the cash at it, and that's making it ramp up, I think, my opinion. All right. All right, people. Let me see. I'm going to read a few more comments, then we'll be done. Shirley. Oh, no. Well, you know what, Billy Joe? Give your phone to the cops. Don't throw it away. Give it to the cops and go get your throwaway phone. Don't dwell on it. I feel no sorry for anyone in that house, period. Yeah, Steph, it's not about feeling sorrow for the people in the house. It's about that the environment yesterday got dangerous. I would not give 5 minutes of my time on any of them. They love the drama. They are creating quite a bit of drama. Let's see. And they're going after the babysitter? Really? It is, Lori Saccone. Yeah, it is. That's what I said. It's like psychological, like warfare. It's crazy. It's just crazy. In this beautiful country of ours, we are innocent until proven guilty. We don't have lynch mobs. Well, we do now. We do in 2022. I know it's awful that the baby is unalived, but we can't do this. Yeah, and nothing is going to bring it back, right, Yvette? There's nothing that's going to turn it around. At this point, it's about law enforcement holding the perpetrator accountable. Oh, well, here's a great comment. Okay. How will the little kids in the neighborhood be able to trick or treat with all of this commotion going on? Well, that's a very good question. and it will be very interesting to see if there is a entitlement function of we have the right to be here and create this hell on earth, and we don't give a damn about the kids trick-or-treating, or will they do the pro-social thing and show everybody how great they are by handing out candy themselves to trick-or-treaters? In that case, would you let your child go down and get candy from this group after what happened yesterday? I wouldn't. Well, Pink, yes. So if you'd seen what happened yesterday, it's really important to be factual. There was not a reaction of advocating for one side or another. It was nothing like that. It was a reaction of, oh my God, look what these look at the powder keg, look at the potential violence that's now twisting off by YouTubers. And so there was this knee-jerk reaction of, oh my God, somebody make it stop before somebody gets hurt. And so there was like this really intense moment, which, by the way, it does look like they've made an attempt to scrub all of that footage. I do have it. I made a decision not to show it because it's just vile. It's just terrible. I don't know. It's sad. It's sad. It's sad. It's just sad. And the cops should be doing something about it. The cops need to be doing something about it. I am amazed that they don't have officers sitting down there watching the crowd. I don't mean in a threatening way. I don't mean in a way to stop them from their right to protest. But I mean, at least if the cops are down there, at least there is there's a grounding force, right? It helps people kind of keep their feet on the ground and not let it get crazy. They are forcing other children to hear and see nonsense dealing with adult issues, which is most definitely abuse. The police said they're afraid there will be a drive-by shooting. Oh my God. Were they trying to tell, were they trying to get the family to go inside, Michelle? Is that what that was about? They do have cops there? Yeah, that's exactly right, Escape. We don't know what information they even have to know if Quentin is deceased. We know so little about this case. The law enforcement naming her as a prime suspect has caused this. But now people are questioning Danny. We all just don't know. Yeah, I agree. I personally, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. I think that Danny, his timeline, he's got a problem. Okay, so I feel certain the cops are talking to him. I think it was irresponsible to publicly name Leilani as a primary suspect if they weren't ready to arrest. I heard the police say that. Wow. That's terrifying, Mystified. Danny was called in 5 times and bounced to North Carolina on day 4, right? Ugh, that looks bad. Yeah, yeah, Dolly. So Leilani is a walking target, right? And so who made the decision to go and sit outside in the front yard? Who made that decision? I don't know why law enforcement didn't go in there and tell them to get their asses in the backyard to keep everybody alive. I heard they will be going to Danny's. Well, turnabout is fair play. I think he has got just as much culpability as she does. He arrived late to work that day, and yet the babysitter saw him driving through the neighborhood early. So which is it? What was he doing? Cher told him to go outside and she would strain it. Jesus, why? My God. My God. That would, oh my God. No, no, you don't want to. Ugh. It's like gasoline on a fire. You don't want that. And there's somebody else saying that Cher told Billy Joe to go outside. Why would she do that? I don't understand. Cher's egging it on. I say let Bullhorn Betty, Billy Joe, and Cher duke it out. Hey, you know what, Allison? I'm gonna tell you straight up. If it comes to a fist fight, Billy Joe's the last one standing. No question. Oh, here's Peachy. Hold on. Dolly said his emotions got the best of him and it's getting too crazy for him. He is ready to go home. There you go, Peachy. That's exactly what I said. I said that I felt like what happened, it was so uh, atypical for what I have seen from Dolly for a long time, months and months and months. That I felt like he got down there, he kind of got in the spirit of things, and he began to mirror Bullhorn Betty's, kind of aggressive demeanor. And I think it got the best of him. That's why, if you go back to the beginning of the video, I do a lot of talking about primal scream, and how if you act out anger and frustration, it actually feeds it, and the anger and frustration grows bigger. That if you have anger and frustration, you have to diffuse it by distracting and then physiologically burning off the energy, going for a walk or jumping jacks or whatever. But to engage the thing that's making you feel angry just escalates. And so going out there screeching and screaming and making threats, they're just escalating the energy. And so, yeah, Peachy, I'm happy to hear Dolly said that. I think that's great. I really do. I think that's great. Oh, and see, okay. Oh my God. Oh, Tammy. Oh God. So Cher, I don't know if this is true. I'm reading the comments. Cher told them to grab the signs. Yeah, but that was like a point of provocation, right, Tammy? Like you go out there and grab all the signs, the protesters could have reacted in a really aggressive way. I would have said exactly the opposite. Who cares? Leave the signs there. Nobody cares. Leave them. Yes, Michelle, they're trying to reclaim their house. Yes. Um, I get the motivation for it, but I think it was the wrong execution of the right idea. They're not going to be able to reclaim it until all the protesters are gone. And the reason is because you don't have the power to control another human being. We don't have that power. Bullhorn, you don't have the power to control Leilani or Billy Joe, you don't have the power to control the cops. You do not have that power. I hope so, a scapegoat. I agree, Dolly. 22 years old, high on drugs, passes out and doesn't know what happened to her child. And yet, the supposed boyfriend, who does have a bone to pick, right? He's angry, he's being evicted. Um, he's out, you know, skulking around the neighborhood, shows up late to work, leaves on day 4. Yeah. Turn a spotlight on Danny for a little while. I bet he's interesting too. The sign said honk. They probably wanted the honking to stop. One thing age has taught me, we control nothing, right? I'll have to watch the rewind. I've never seen your channel before. Oh, well, welcome, Michelle. I know Dolly and Betty have YouTube channel. I don't know about the others. The signs were meant to harass. I'd have taken them too. They said honk on them. Cher is inserting herself into this. I hope she doesn't go down with them. I wouldn't want to be, whoops. I missed that one. Sorry. I wouldn't want to be trapped in my house. Same. Yep. But I've already said I would already be out of the house in a hotel. Let me, for example, if you're in a hotel that has, let's say, 10, 12 floors, and you get your room and say, hey, will you please put me on the top floor? Then as protesters build up, they're going to call the cops. And they're going to get rid of them. They can't get you if you're up in the air. I know I saw somebody say perplexed. Where are you at, Laura? I didn't see you. Maybe y'all are just talking about perplexed. At perplexed QT, completely agree. Where is she? I don't see your comment, perplexed. This isn't shared. That lady, the grandmother, has a mind of her own. She decided to take their power back. I don't think Cher told them what to do, not sticking up for anybody, but they have their own mind. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Billy Joe's a powerful female. I agree, Cinnamon Hot Dog. Perplexed is here. Well, where is she? It's weird. Oh, there you are. I see you. Sorry. I said do not give Dolly credit. He is a true POS. I'm going to tell you, Laura, my jaw hit the ground when he went after that woman. I was just blown away. I was like, oh my God, listen to that. I mean, he outright owned it. He said, I'm a tragedy pimp. My pockets are full of money. I was like, ooh, that's not going to age very well. That's not going to go well. Anyone with a half brain would not encourage a family to sit on the lawn in deck chairs. The truth is, it was a dangerous situation. It really was. I can't understand the cops. Just don't understand it. Hey, T, please. Yeah, I heard that, Tammy. That's not good either. Pink said, well, if you didn't think that he was a POS then, you sure do think he is one now. Well, yeah, there's that, right? Video. Video's dangerous in today's world. This sounds like it wasn't. It was a dangerous situation yesterday. Got really, really bad for a little while. Was not Cher friends with Don Wells and then turned on him? Yeah, look, it's not my job. Let me be careful here. It is, people want things to be simple, right? People like to deal with just, right and wrong, black and white. They don't want to deal with the reality is multiple shades of gray, all the stuff in between. That's what real life is made of. It is a rare situation where something is either all good or all bad. The reality is that we're all kind of sitting somewhere in the middle. Okay. I repeat, I am not speaking up for Leilani or Billy Joe or anything like that. I am not speaking up for the more aggressive protesters, the protesters that are doing things like playing recorded babies crying. That actually is quite antisocial and obscene. That was pretty gross stuff. Um, what my goal is my concern was for safety, number one, and number two, to sort of try to put some rational thought back in to the picture that what they're attempting to do with the basically terrorizing this family, and why in the world the cops are allowing it to happen, I don't know. I would think it would be against the law to terrorize a group of people. I just didn't think we could do that in 2022. But nevertheless, what the tactics that they're using, the psychological warfare, they're misapplying it. They're doing it improperly. And what they're actually doing is they're inoculating Leilani and Paul and Billy Joe. They're inoculating them against the interview techniques that the investigators would use that would be effective. But because they're playing some kind of role out of a war movie or something, they think that they're North Vietnamese and they're terrorizing this group of people. They're teaching them to be immune to it. You don't want them to be immune to it. You want them to be able to go into the police and the investigators question them in a proper interrogation where the investigators are trained in the proper use of psychological reactants. Shit. I don't want to sit here and teach all day. Psychological reactants are the corrective emotions, basic instincts, and physical reactions to pressure, changes in the environment, internal stress. This is Betty. This is an entire field of study. This is complicated stuff, even for people that have PhD in this field. You don't know what you're doing. This is a complete. All you're doing is breaking the law. You're just creating. You're just engaging in psychological abuse, and then you're calling it content and making money on it. This isn't going to move you toward a goal where I'm talking about where Quentin is concerned. So pull back on it. pull back, create an environment where the investigators can do what they've been trained to do, and then protest what, that you want Quentin found, and you want whoever is responsible, you want them to be held accountable. Remember, look at what happened yesterday. Yesterday was the day. There was an arrest in the murders, the heinous, gruesome murders of Libby German and Abby Williams. For 5 years, people developed a belief around who they thought the perpetrator was. For 5 years. And when it all came down to it, Gray Hughes was right. It was someone that nobody even knew, nobody even heard about. His name had never been brought up in connection with Libby German and Abby Williams. You don't know if Leilani did this, Betty. You don't know. If it was so cut and dried, those cops would arrest Leilani. They have reason to believe that something else went on. Now, maybe it is that they want to arrest both Danny and Leilani. But you are interfering with that possibility being able to happen. Protest. Do your signs. Put your, justice for Quentin. Put your opinions out there. Do interviews. I think it was a crying shame that Dolly's interview with Court TV got pulled. Well, why do you think it was pulled, Betty? Because of the antisocial, creepy crap that you guys were out there doing. Court TV saw that and they said, we don't want to be associated with that mess. Guarantee you that's what happened. Pull back. Check yourself. Simmer down. Tighten up. Whatever words you like to use to say, get your shit together, Betty. Calm things down out there. Please. No one is listening to you. I can see you, Jeebus. Hey, Sammy. If Molly Golightly and Justin don't turn up next week, they're going to know there's much real life anger building up about all mess. Going to be interesting to see if they do. Court TV is too smart to associate with this. Absolutely agreed. They crossing T's and dotting their I's. There you go, Mystified. Absolutely. Here's the thing, Betty. You're not factoring in. It does no one in. Look at the Barry Morphew case, Betty. It does no good to go and make an arrest and not be able to get a conviction. No good. It's wasted time. Look what they did with Morphew. That there were 1,000 people ready to come to be questioned for jury duty. 1,000 people. The day maybe it was 2 days before, the judge pulled back, said, no, we can't go to trial. No, not this, but we'll do it without prejudice. Linda Stanley, go get your crap together. Do a proper investigation, bring me some proper evidence, and we'll redo this. That's what happens, Betty, when you make an early arrest. They don't just go in with guns blazing and say, oh, we think you did it. We're going to arrest you. And then when we're completing our investigation, we're going to hold you. No, you can't do that. It's called civil liberties. The Constitution protects against that type of thing. They're not going to make an arrest until they can take their evidence to the prosecutor, the district attorney. The district attorney is going to go over all the evidence and they're going to make a decision, and they're going to tell the chief of police, hey, yes, I believe I can get a conviction with the information that you have brought to me. Go make your arrest. Or the district attorney will say, hey, chief, I'm still missing a link. I think we're weak on a motive. It is all kinds of things. But ultimately, the district attorney can say, I don't think we have enough to get a conviction. I need you to get me more. And in that case, then the perp continues to walk free as the cops are collecting evidence that will basically put them under the jailhouse. Look at the Rodin family murders. Billy Wagner, Angela Wagner, Jake, and George. How long were they? They walked for 3 years. They took a trip up to Alaska and lived up there for a while and came back before the prosecutor finally said, okay, I think we got him. I think we can do this. I think it took us 3 years to collect the information, but I think we got him. I think we can get a conviction on all 4. No, Betty. It's not the Wild West, even though you like to pretend that it is. And it's not the Bullhorn Betty shit show, actually. I mean, you may be putting on that show out there right now, but that's separate from the disappearance and potential death of Quentin. Please, please, please back off. Let's not do this. Yesterday was really terrifying. It was terrifying. It was heartbreaking. It was awful. It was awful. Hey, Anonymous, how are you? Welcome. Already begging for money to go. I don't want money to go to Georgia. Exactly how soon some forget. I don't see that. Pink said, Betty Blowhorn, if you're here, for the love of humanity, I'll even give you my MGL wig for free, but, ramp down on the shit show. I think they should be down in Hawkins County protesting Ronnie Lawson and all the corruption down there. I'll tell you this, Marlene, that's another one of those cases that I think all of the YouTube interference has forever soiled any possibility of getting any conviction. There'll never be a conviction for what happened this summer. The interviews, the going on YouTube channels, it'll never stand up in a court of law. Mystified. I am mystified, damn it. Yesterday was just crazy. I couldn't believe what I was looking at. I just couldn't believe it. I just thought, my God, if we get out of this with nobody else getting hurt, it's going to be a miracle. Hey, Wild Fox. No, there won't, because of the crazy actions of her mom and Day and Hills in the air. Mom and Dad and Hills in the air. Quentin is the issue. I actually said that, Critters, in a thing I wrote. Quentin has been erased. Quentin's not a part of the 3-ring circus, the Bullhorn Betty shit show. Quentin is not a part of the show except as a ghost. They did give him Ring 2, and they did their little ghost footage. So I guess we should be grateful for that, right? How about let's, make it so Quentin is at the center of this protest. Let's put a stop to the Bullhorn Betty shit show. Let's declare an end to the Bullhorn Betty shit show, and let's just let there be a Quentin Simon protest. How about that? Just focus on Quentin. And for God's sake, Billy Joe, get in the damn house and stay there. And don't get drunk. Rough night last night. I fell asleep with my earbud in. I woke up to Jules telling us how to handle a university overthrow. Silly dream. It's good to see you, Charlie's granny. How are you? Hi, Rhonda Grace. Maybe it was good I missed what happened yesterday. The missing child should remain the focus. It was frightening, Rhonda Grace. It was by far the worst thing I've seen on YouTube. By far. 100% the worst thing I've seen on YouTube. Well, yeah, why crime? The jaw is sort of loose, right? But, you know, we'll just focus on the alcohol. Prayers to Paul Pelosi and a full recovery. Now that, Pink Lady Luck, is my next video. That was crazy, wasn't it? It was a crazy story. So we need to see, you know, we're going to kind of be looking into Paul Pelosi, an intruder. An intruder came in with a hammer and beat him. Terrible. And supposedly, as the guy is like beating Paul with the hammer, he's saying, "Where's Nancy?" Whew. It's the end of the world as we know it, and I am troubled. This is not good. What's happening, y'all? Let's see. Yeah, that's what I wanted to show. Hold on. It's the end of the world as we know it. Okay, I want you guys to take a look at this. And I just want to ask you, is this who we are? Is this what we have become in this country? Because this is what I don't want to be. I don't want to live in a country where our populace, our individuals behave like this. This is disgusting and obscene. And yet it kind of epitomizes the Bullhorn Betty shit show.
New video shows the disturbing attack in downtown Crossing. A 20-year-old woman beaten and kicked by a group of juveniles while she's already down. One of them as young as 12 years old.
That was baffling, honestly. It was incredible to see that because I've never seen any type of thing like that in my life ever.
Julie Mendez works at the smoke shop right in front of where this happened. She ran out to try to help.
It was just crazy. She was trying to take her bags. I was trying to grab them to take her bags. It was just insane.
So they were trying to steal her purse. Those were kids. Those were children that thought that that was appropriate. Well, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they think that was appropriate? They're looking at these adults walking around acting that way. There's no adults standing up and telling those kids, "Are you crazy? You can't go around beating people in the streets." Let's see what else I brought up that I was going to rant about. Oh, here's one. Now this is Turtle. Leilani, will you marry me? It's kind of funny, a little sick, but okay. It's kind of funny. I had just enough iced coffee to hold off the killing spree, but there's a Starbucks downstairs.
Oh, welcome, Leo girl. Thank you for joining. It's for a reaction and to end up on TV. What the fuck?
Ah, F-bomb. There it is.
If you're gonna be out, you're gonna be out here to comment.
I don't know why I kept it playing, but I do too. It
I
has
got some
become a
goals.
sick, perverse
I got
game
some
to them.
goals. That shit's going right to court TV, going inside of dick.
Do you hear that? I got some gold. It's going right to court TV. Now listen to how pumped he is that he got this shot outside the house.
Shit, that shit is going. Well, before I went live, oh my God, I recorded the best shit. I'm talking about the best shit. Thank you, haters. Thank you. You're the ones that set these people off. You're the ones that got them up out the house. Pressure, baby. That's what it takes. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You know what he's talking about, y'all? He's talking about whoever's idea it was for Billy Joe and her family to come and sit in the front yard. And when they came out and sat in the front yard, now these guys have access to spew all their filth and to create all this diversion and all this chaos. He's thanking them for helping manipulate Billy Joe so that they can have this shit show in the front yard.
But
and this channel is
at homes. Crab referred to protest outside of the home of Brian Laundrie's parents, which was Bullhorn Betty. Okay. The Petito case was in the national eye for several months, and the Laundrie home had drawn the attention of multiple protesters. So Brian Laundrie, the murderer from Southwest Florida, had days and days of protest at his house, his parents' house. Crab said in February, he's not an elected official. His parents weren't an elected official, but that wasn't right either. Whatever side you're on, it gives you protection. It's not just for an elected official.
I thought I had her pulled up because she had some video I wanted to play. Well, I've lost it now. Were these the signs that they took up? This is Alex Erickson's channel. I've just recently started listening to her. I like her.
Hey, Cher. Good morning.
Alex Erickson.
Hey, Elsa. We are talking about, oh my gosh, last night. It was absolutely devastating.
Well, shoot. I lost the video she played that. Anyway, okay. So anyway, y'all go over there and give her a like and subscribe, Alex Erickson. And then I have one more. Let's see. We did the ghost, right? Which is just BS, you guys. It's just light tricks. Oh, thank goodness. Thank you, critters. All right, guys. Okay. So that is to diffuse a very difficult live. Okay. I'm going to tell you why it's a difficult live, because I'm going to take shots from all sides, because I didn't stand up on anyone's side. I'm standing alone as a voice of reason to the people involved. Everybody relax, slow your roll, get focused on what's important. And that would be one little boy, Quentin Simon. Stop trying to use psychological warfare. You are not trained, not even close. If you want to do your, YouTube content, of course, we're all wanting our channels to grow. but don't do it by streaming violence as it's unfolding. That's not the right way to go. Protest. This is the USA. We made protesting, popular. But stop in trying these weird psychological obscenities that it makes people nauseated that are watching it. It's not going to help. And as far as Billy Joe goes, you're going to end up in the hospital if you don't find a way to detach from what's happening in front of your house, whether it's to, retreat inside and just start watching nonstop funny movies, or to go to a hotel somewhere. But quit crying in front of the camera. Do not go on someone's stream, for God's sake. Stop that, Billy Joe. They are not being your friend. If they are trying to put you up on a channel, you are there. Please. Man. The exploitation, this is something that's really hard for me. That rain is coming down harder and harder. Okay. Even though it's relaxing to listen to. This looks like, to me, exploitation of crime victims. That's what it looks like. It's starting to look that way. These people that move in and they befriend these families that have had tragedy in their wake. They move in, they befriend them, and then they begin bringing them up on panel and interviewing them and such. Now, I'm not going to tell anybody what to do. Everybody has the ability to do what they want to do. It's their business, right? But for me, I just worry that one day it might, interviewing somebody on a YouTube channel, you may set up a scenario to interfere with a proper, progression of law. I would just be horrified if it was. Here's what I think about. If I had somebody come up on my channel and I interviewed them, and then you get into court and somebody says, well, they were on a channel, like with what happened with Lynn Stanley. They were on YouTube channel and, some mistrial, throw it all out. I would be mortified. I would never want to interfere. If somebody has broken the law, they should absolutely go to jail under the greatest penalty of law. I do support death penalty in those conditions, those cases, like the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, massacre. But man, I don't interfere. You know what I mean? I can't. It's not good. So, I just think it's a bad idea, but I'm only one person. Everybody's got other ideas. I'm one person, but especially right now, while Billy Joe is so distraught and emotionally overwhelmed, Billy Joe, protect yourself. Don't go on live streams. Don't go and sit out and let people look at you. Don't do interviews. Don't do that. You are just about to break. And that's not going to help anything if you fold. I mean, what are you going to do, Billy Joe, if Quentin is alive somewhere? He was abducted by some stranger. They end up finding him and they want to bring him home, but you've now, you're in turmoil and emotional wreck and have all kinds of neurological problems now because of the level of intense emotional damage you've experienced. Then that doesn't help anything, right? Protect yourself. Take yourself out away from all the cameras and just lick your wounds and find your way. I know you're in a weird place. I know you are. Terrible. It's terrible. Terrible. The loss. It's terrible. Really terrible. All right. Okay, people, it is Saturday and we've got 3 more days, 29, 30, no, 2 more days until Halloween. For all my friends, I will see y'all tomorrow night, Sunday night at the Halloween party BBT is doing. So I'll see you guys there. And I guess I'll probably go live tonight. It'll be late when I go. I may not though. I don't know. I'm gonna play it by ear. I may or may not be back tonight. Okay. But otherwise, you know what? Keep your head down. The Bullhorn Betty shit shows in town, and things get crazy when they're coming into town. All right. Y'all have a very, very good Saturday afternoon. Bye. Subscribe, hit that like button, leave a comment under the video. Remember, I am romancing the algorithm.